Hello, my lovely ladies. It's Charlotte Eden from the Good Birth Practice here. It's about 20 to 3 on Wednesday. I'm going to go Wednesday afternoon, and I am just wrapping up the final bits of the new client area on my website, which is jolly exciting. Which is where, God, I've been talking about the bonus tutorials, haven't I, over the last couple of weeks? And so I've just been loading videos from Katie Palmer from Infant Sleep Consultants, and Jo May from Radiant Personal Training, who's going to talk about pelvic floors, and Silke Thistlewood from Nourish Mums, who is going to talk about kind of robust perinatal mental health. And I wanted to hop on and do a live because I haven't for a couple of days, and I'm just about to go and get the kids, and we all know that once the kids are in the frame, that's it for me for the day. But I just wanted to come on and talk a little bit about when birth doesn't feel good. And partly I'm focused on that because it's Birth Trauma Awareness Week, which is a really important issue that we should all be kind of more mindful of, because frankly, there but for the grace of God go many of us. And partly because I had a really interesting class at the weekend, and we talked a little bit about birth trauma, but also about how far you can control what your birth experience is like. And also because on Monday I met up with some mum friends of mine and heard yet more traumatic birth stories. And I kind of want to hop on for a couple of reasons. The first reason is to talk about the correlations between those birth stories that are not so happy and the birth stories that are happy. And the correlations between those are that when women report having a bad birth experience, when they talk to me about it, and I've heard a lot of sad birth stories in my experience, they almost never talk about pain. They almost always talk about feeling out of control, or not knowing what was going on, or not understanding why things were happening, or having been told off. Like literally having been told off by professionals. They talk about being tired and about labour going on for too long. And they talk about a sort of generic disrespect. And the interesting thing for me about that is that there's a correlation between that and the women I speak to who've had happier birth experiences. And that's where they talk about, that's because women who've had the happier birth experiences talk about having been in control and having felt that they understood what was going on. Like, that is not to say that all the good birth experiences I've heard are women who've had kind of spontaneous labour, unassisted delivery, what you might describe as like a natural vaginal delivery. And it's also not to say that the women I speak to who've had traumatic births ended up having assisted deliveries, so von-2s or forceps or caesarean sections, because that's not true. That's not the case. And I just want to sort of draw attention to that, because I think that's quite an important thing to bear in mind, that whether you have a positive birth experience or not actually might not be about excuse me, might not be about how the baby comes out of your body. It might be about the experience you have of the people around you and the environment that you're in, and your understanding of what's happening in your body and to you and to your body. Excuse me, I'm all froggy. There is an amazing book that I read a couple of years ago by an American woman called Dr. Anne Drapkin Lyerly, who did a study with Duke University in North Carolina about the correlating factors, and she identified five correlating factors, and they were agency, control, respect, connectedness, Agency, control, respect, connectedness, and trust, I think. But have a look at the latest blog because it's outlined in that really clearly. And those are the factors that women find important in their birth experience. And quite a lot of those you can control, which I think is good news. I think that's good news for women to take away. I also, and I know I'm starting to bang on for a little while now and people will be starting to drop off because I'll be boring them because I've been talking for too long, but I also think there's a massive feminist aspect to this. You know, ONS data from 2016 tells us that 82% of women become mothers by the time they're 45. 82. Right, that is not a minority issue by any stretch of the imagination. And the number of women that I speak to who have had traumatic birth experiences or bad birth experiences or sad birth experiences is fucking outrageous. It's outrageous that women continue to have that birth experience because it's one of the most important experiences you can have as a woman. The day you give birth to your child, you will remember for the rest of your life. The rest of your life, sometimes in forensic detail. So the fact that so many women are having a bad time is completely unacceptable. And something can be done about that. Like, from my end of the spectrum, the thing that can be done is about providing good information and good modelling and a supportive environment. But the other end of the spectrum is you might just want to turn up at hospital and have an epidural, and that should be your right too. You should not be labouring for I was talking to somebody the other day who laboured for 5 days before having an emergency caesarean section. What the fuck? That's just ridiculous. If this was, and now I'm going to say it, if this was happening to men, it would be stopped. It's an outrage. And I don't really quite know what to do about it other than helping individual women at the moment, but I'm sure I'll come to some plan at some point and I'll co-opt you all into it because that's what I do. So yeah, so there isn't really a conclusion to that other than I think it's an outrage and I think it's unacceptable and I don't think women should accept it. And I'll just keep doing my bit and banging my drum and hopefully talking loudly enough that more women feel they have options, but they don't just have to turn up and submit to what happens on the day. So yeah, so I hope that's helpful. I'm off to pick up my children and to finish up the bits and pieces on the secure client area on the website. And also to prepare for the workshop that's happening on Monday and then for the capsule course that's happening on Wednesday. Hit me up if you want to attend or find out more about any of those. Keep well, have lovely weeks everybody, and I'll speak to you later. Goodbye.